most important question in this video. Do you guys think this wig works as a middle part, or should I stick to side parts? Okay, hey guys, and welcome in or welcome back to my channel. So today's video should be an interesting one. We're gonna talk about some things. I get questions all the time if I could do a video on my top bronzers and my top contours, and I'm always just like, see, the way my skin is set up, that's not a real thing here where I could do a video where I'm like, yeah, I love this bronzer, I love that contour, because I don't really have many options there. So it would really just be a video of me showing you like 3 products and that's it. So I thought I would do this video where I ask some of these brands like, what is going on here? What's not clicking? What's not correlating here? Go through all of the bronzers and contours that I do own and show you guys the ones that I actually use and would recommend. So the first one is from The Balm, and this is their Take Home the Bronze in the shade Bronzing Tea. The bronzing champ. It's got like 8 different things on it that you consider the shade name, but this is what the actual shade looks like there. You know, if there are some people out there who are still thinking, well, maybe, you know, you could use that as a bronzing shade, that's what it looks like in the pan. And then when you put your finger through it, I've got blushes that are darker. Can we see that? Okay, there's this Rimmel London Natural Bronzer here. Let's take a look at that. There it is. Okay, let's right, that is it on my finger there. And ooh, all right, dust. That's what it's paying me. It's paying me dust. I'm gonna go ahead and put that down. And before anyone tries to clock me, well, why do you buy them if you know they're not going to work for you? I feel like I shouldn't have to say I didn't purchase these. Like, I'm not just going out buying bronzers and contours I know I can't use. I received them in PR to do what? I'm not exactly sure. Why do I still have them? I'm also not really sure why I still have them. I guess I think, you know, you have family and friends who might need it, or you know, I did do the dead bride makeup look, so you never know when you might have to look ashy for. I don't know why I still have them, but I do. So this is the Becca Endless Bronze and Glow. You know, we getting darker here with bronzers. They're this little one. I don't like products like this where, you know, like the highlighter, the blush, and the bronzer are all next to each other, because like what happens if I'm not about to use these 2 shades? What happens if, you know, I just wanted this? But anyway, this is, you know, we're getting darker here with some of the bronzers. This is still a little light, you know, if you ever go a little overboard with contour on your face, you know, you could maybe, you know, balance that out here with this bronzer. My finger can barely fit in the pan. We're getting somewhere. Actually, no, we're not. So this is the Ofra Midi palette in Toasted Cashmere. They have a bronzer in here, and that is what it looks like. You know, the packaging is cute. I forgot a nice little swatch there of Ofra. Yo, these dead look like eyeshadow shade. Okay, just in case y'all wanted a nice little swatch there of Ofra. Okay, now for what I actually use as bronzer. I feel like if you've been here for a minute, you can probably answer this before I even show it. It is the Colourpop bronzer. Y'all know I can never actually remember the name of this bronzer, so I'll have it in the description down below. I think it's like brownie pieces, something bits, something like that. But yeah, this is my go-to. You can probably see the rim around the pan, because that's how often I use it there. You know, we were getting places when I came across this Colourpop bronzer. That's what you can actually see it on my finger there. I was today years old when I found out this bronzer has some glitter reflex in it. Okay. And the other bronzer I would recommend is from the Prime Beauty. Now I have this shade Brownsville and this shade Chocolate Litty. Now my Colourpop bronzer is a little bit darker than this Prime Beauty one, but I would still use this one, especially if I'm using Chocolate Litty as my contour shade, because it's a little darker than I would use for a contour shade, but I can use it for a contour shade. And if you wanted a bronzer that came in this shade, here's this one right here, but this one can kind of tone it out since this is a little bit darker, then I would go with this one. But look at Chocolate Litty. Just look at her. Look at it. Look at her. Yes. Thank you, Prime Beauty. Someone was listening. Oh, and this is Brownsville there. Actually, no, Brownsville is darker than Colourpop. So yeah, those are the two brands I could recommend for bronzers there, Colourpop and the Prime Beauty. Now for contour, I have this Rimmel Duo Contour Stick, and that's what that looks like. This is in the shade Dark, okay. I think we need to go over the definition of dark. However, Rimmel kind of made up for it with this Insta Conceal and Contour with their, it's dark too, with their, yeah, with their dark there, you know. She's kind of doing some things. I mean, kind of looks like my foundation shade, but you know, it's better than the first one that I tried. I actually haven't used this one yet, but we can still take a look at the contour shade. This is from Covergirl. This is their full spec, well, it's from their full spectrum line. It's their Contour and Correct Expert. If you guys didn't know, that line is supposed to be for women of color, and that's what the darkest contour shade looks like. That's okay, right? Okay, Covergirl, because you guys saw my video on the rest of the line, you know, it was a little questionable there. I am gonna do a full Covergirl, full face Covergirl video, but okay, all right. Before I say anything, pick which one you think is the contour shade. Go ahead. I'll wait a minute. Pick which one you think out of these four here is supposed to be my contour shade. So this is the medium to deep face palette by Becca, and this bad boy right here is supposed to be my contour shade. Right here. There. If you need to see it some more. Right here. Okay. Alrighty then. You a lie and the truth ain't in you. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put that down. So this is the BH Cosmetics Contour Palette. I actually used to use this shade to contour years ago. Again, when you ain't got that many options, you take what you can get. So I used to use this shade, but I use it now. No, but you know, this is what that, if you guys can hear the wind outside, I can't, you know, I can't do much. Can't do much about the wind, but pray for me because your girl feels some type of way sitting next to all these windows. This is that BH shade. Okay, now for the ones I actually would recommend. First up, Fenty Beauty, their MatchStix in Espresso. You know, she gives me a nice little subtle contour there. That's what she is looking like. I feel like she kind of picks up like products sometimes, which is why I don't really like using her that often, but I do use it and she does show up. Next one, you guys probably would have guessed I would show this, and I do like it, but there's something about this that just kind of irritates me here. It is from the Itsmyrayeraye and BH Cosmetics collaboration palette. Is this shade right here, Brownie, but maybe this is what I was thinking about when I was trying to think of the Colourpop name. But this shade right here, she's pretty, she shows up. Y'all know she was one of my faves for a good minute, and I still use this, but you know, now I do have some options here. Here's what irritates me here. As you can see, this is in a whole eyeshadow palette. Okay, so if I do use this palette, and I'll definitely use these colors when I'm using other eyeshadows, but it's not a palette that I use every day. You know, it's not like a go-to eyeshadow palette. So if I wanted just this contour shade again, I would have to buy the whole palette again. And it's a limited edition palette. So imagine you get stuck on this one contour shade, like, yes, this is the best thing ever. And you know, in the next year, they stop selling it and you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Now y'all saw the darkest contour shade I showed in the actual BH contour palette. So I was like, why can't you just make a similar shade? What annoys me here is I've been told, I've seen, and I've heard a lot of people just say, well, why don't you just use a brown or a black eyeshadow instead of complaining? Like, imagine if a brand came out with bronzers or a contour palette and it was just for medium to deep skin tones, and when light skin tones were like, well, what am I supposed to use as a bronzer? I can't buy this, I can't use this. And people are just like, look, there are hundreds of eyeshadows out there. Go find a brown and use that, okay? Stop complaining. You're always mad about something. That actually, I don't have to imagine what would happen if that happened, because it actually has happened before. Huda Beauty came out with a contour palette for medium to deep skin tones, and light skin tones were like, I can't use this, I can't use the shades in there, I can't buy this, like why not make something for everyone? And what's funny there, it's not even like that was the first of its kind of that contour palette that Huda came out with. She made it after she made one for light to medium skin tone. She was just, you know, adding some inclusivity there by making one for medium to deep skin tones, and it was a problem. But just quick, I'm talking, you know, Olympic runner quick, to tell someone to just use a black or a brown eyeshadow and stop complaining when you tell brands like, hello, I exist here, you know, you can make things for my skin tone. And that'll always be crazy to me. Like, how are you upset at the consumer telling the brand, like, this is what you should be making, these are the products you should be putting out? Like, these brands aren't doing people a favor. That's always crazy to me when people are like, you guys should be grateful that the brand did this, and that they're grateful for, is it a gift? Do I not have to pay for it? Oh, I do? I'm giving them my money? Okay, so they gonna hear my mouth if they can take my money. Okay, USA. Okay. Let's move on. Next one is from Black Radiance. Y'all should already know this was gonna be in this video as well. This is their new one in dark to deep. Look at that. All right, that's what that shade is. Ooh, I think I put it in a different swatch. Anyway, this is the only one that matters. That's what that shade is looking like. And they also have there's also I think a light to medium, but this one is medium to dark, and this is what I was using for a good minute. It's broken. Y'all should already know the story of why it's broken there, but that's what that one is looking like. And the last one I have technically isn't marketed as a contour product, but it's deep enough for me to contour with. It is from Glamazon Beauty. It's their foundation stick in Chocolate Mousse 12. Look at that. So that was what, 3 marketed contour? Well, I don't think Fenty really markets that as a contour product. It's like a kind of, you can do anything with it. So really like 2 marketed contour products, and then 2 that I can use as contour there. Now look, I know the thing to hype up right now is that brands are putting out 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 foundation shade ranges. I don't think people get it. It's not about the number that you're putting out, it's about how that gradient looks throughout the number. So if you're putting out 50 foundations and 40 of them have a nice little gradient between light to medium, and then those last 10 shades are, you know, where you just throw in the ones for medium to dark, you really could have just kept it. I mean, honestly, we're still getting 20 foundation shade ranges that look like this. Okay, but to the ones who do it correctly, congratulations, great. You don't get to pat yourself on the back though when the rest of your complexion products just ain't it. Yay, you put out 40 foundations and then you come out with a concealer shade range of 6 shades. Or you come out with bronzers and they look like this area here on my skin tone, or like this. Or your contours look like this, or like this. That's not how it works. You don't get to put on the inclusive hats because you focused your attention here, and then for the rest of the product that you're putting out, you're just like, well, y'all gonna get the usual and y'all just gonna like it. Like, the arguments just don't make sense. Well, it's new. They can't put out 50 shades. What happens if they put out 50 shades and then no one likes it, and then they just wasted all this money on this new product? Okay, well, how they gonna know if deeper complexions like it if they don't make anything for them to buy? And if it's because it's new and they don't know if people like it, why does it take them so long to add more shades once they find out people do like it? That Benefit Hoola bronzer's been around for how long now? That's OG beauty YouTube that we're talking about there, if we want to talk about that Benefit Hoola bronzer, and they're just adding on deeper shades this year. Make it make sense. Somebody, please. Now look, I will always give a brand credit where credit is due, but no, I will not just take whatever I can get and go quietly like a lot of people would like me to do. Because when a brand already doesn't make something, when you factor in those factors of reality, you realize that those slim options you have get even slimmer, okay? Because there's availability, there's price, there's skin type, there's undertone. All of those things are factors that make, when a brand only comes out with 2 contour shades, there go your options, okay? Yes, Fenty has a whole bunch of different shades, but guess what? Fenty isn't available in every country there, so there's availability. Yeah, Anastasia might have that $40 contour palette, but not everyone can afford a $40 contour palette, so that's how price works there. There's skin type, okay? Cream contours are better off for people who have dry to normal skin, while powder contours are for people who have oily skin. Well, what happens if the contour that actually works for you is a cream contour and you have oily skin? All right, so now my options get even slower. Yeah, they might have my foundation shade, but that undertone is yellow. That undertone is blue, and I have a red undertone, or I have a neutral undertone. That's how those factors start playing in, and that's why your options get even slower when brands already only put out like 6 concealer shades. So that is why I don't give a fuck if you matte. Period. Okay? Actually, if you mad, stay mad, because I'm gonna keep saying something and you won't beat my ass. So boys and girls, what we learned today is that there are options out there if anyone is looking for bronzer and contour. When I did ask that question about, you know, what steps you guys feel are unnecessary in makeup, I did get a lot of people who said bronzer and contour, but then they went on to say that they feel that way because they never found anything that works for them, or it's hard for them to find things that work for them, so they just skip that step altogether. So there are options, and I will always continue to look for options for you guys to make things a little bit easier there. And we also learned for, you know, the it's not that deep people out there that it is. Okay, and there's no excuse. This isn't a back and forth that we're going to have here. There's no excuse to not do better, so do better. And yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. So make sure to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.